Alright, yo, what up guys? So I'm going to be ranking the Deepwoken races, right? Now this is the Verse 2 ranking. So should be pretty up to date. Played this game for a couple years now. I know what I'm talking about, so you can take your advice from me if you're new to the game. I'll educate you on the races. Now, look, the races aren't as big of a deal as they were back in Rogue Lineage, if any of you have ever played the game. The races in this game, I mean, you can pretty much get by in any PvP build, or whatever you want to do with that, you know, the most boasted race, but at the same time, it's also like, they do have their small quirks, so I'll just be going over those small quirks. Like, there are some races that you just don't want, that you should roll, so yeah, let's get into it. And the ranking will be just everything, you know, utility, combat, whatever, just my personal preference, and everything in between, combat, utility, etc. So, starting off with Canor, right? So Canor, its passive is basically you take 10%, not 10%, you do less damage to allies and you receive less damage from allies. Now this is incredibly useful in like house ganks because, you know, if you're a shadow main or something, you hit your friend with shadow gun, like, you know, it's not that deep. So it basically saves you free charisma talent because that's what it is. It comes with free charisma talent. So, you know, more damage to, I mean, less damage to allies and they do less to you. So I'm going to put this as like mid. I mean, you know, because if you're in house ganks, it's not bad, as, you know, it has good starting stats. I mean, they all have good starting stats, but it's just mid. It's not really good or bad. I mean, you know, if you do a lot of ganks to your house, use this. If you're a solo player, it's garbage, but I'm just going to put it in mid. Top mid for now. Now, Capra right now is really bad. I think it used to have a talent to where you could use your market outside of campfires, and I don't think it has that talent anymore. If it does have that talent, you should only be going the red one anyway, because, so there's three variants, right? Red one gives you health regen, blue one gives you insanity, or, you know, like clears some of your insanity, and the green one, I think, gives you like some hunger back or something. I don't really know. The green, like, you want to be using the red one, right? Because it gives you health regen, and you can't use it on yourself. And I think that, like, unless you're progressing with two Capras, or, you know, you're always by, like, a good example of this is Primadon. You know, you can use Capra during Primadon fights, and I guess it's kind of useful. You can heal your teammates, and if you're getting ganked, just slap a fire down, slap a mark of healing on your friend. Now, you can also do this to the enemy, but all around it's pretty good, and, you know, for team fights, I would say it's better than Canor, so put it above that. Yeah, Capra, it's kind of disappointing for a rare race, but it's getting reworked, so can't really complain, right? Now, this race, Celtor. Okay, so Celtor, I'm just gonna say it, it's like, it's garbage. Okay, I'm just gonna say it's garbage. So you can buy ships for cheaper and they have more HP and blah blah blah, it's ships and blah blah. You probably spend like 3% of your time, 2% of your time, 1% of your time on Deepwoken, like, on your ship. Like, let's be real, you know. Now with the addition of guild halls, you're going to be putting all your money into your guild hall. You're not going to be buying an ironclad, so this race is pretty much like garbage. There's no reason why I should be buying ships. I mean, you know, the parts of the Caribbean, you know, sea fights aren't really going to happen. I mean, they're not happening. You know, maybe there's some future stuff they add, but right now, I mean, it's just bad. I mean, sure, you get a discount on ships, but you only really need a sloop or like a schooner, and those are like 500, so this is pretty useless. Oh, and I think it gives you extra turning speed. I mean, like, ships already turn fast enough, so. Now, Crysid. This is one of the newer races, and I'm just gonna be real with you guys. This race is hot dog. Now, it's above Celtor. It's above Celtor because it looks cool, okay? I mean, the blue variant does look pretty cool, I have to admit, but otherwise, it's hot dog, alright? It's like if a dog vomits on the sidewalk, that's basically what it is, because it's one of the rare races, one of the new races, and it's like, oh, so, okay, its passive is, when someone hits you, like when you're out of combat, they get a little, like, spores applied to them, something stupid, you can see them for 10 seconds, right? So if they decide to run behind a wall, oh, you can see them. Now, think about it, okay, think about this. Somebody attacks you. They're probably not going to be running away in the first 10 seconds, and even if they do, after you one combo them, after you destroy them, it'll have like 2 seconds left. It's completely useless. I mean, it doesn't do anything. It's drippy. That's all I can say. It's drippy. So use it for the drip. But I mean, because I would say it's one of the drippiest races, unless you're like a Vesparian kid, you want to be like Dream. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty bad. So I would not want this race. Now Etrean. Oh man, Etrean. Okay, so Etrean is going in the bottom of garbage. Alright, Etrean is like the worst of the worst. You get like acid rain immunity or resistance. I don't even think it's immunity. I think it's just acid rain resistance. This race is actually like the worst race in the game. If you get this, just roll it. Like, There's nothing worse than it. It gives you like no actual benefits anywhere except unless you're just sailing somewhere and the rain starts to acid rain, which only happens in like Eresia. It never happens anywhere else. Like Bandit Island, that's the only time I ever see acid rain. It's completely useless. And not to mention it gets another passive, like I think like effects, negative or positive effects have less time on you. So if you get hit by like, you know, someone without crystal, you know, with ice daggers, which nobody goes ice without going crystal nowadays, but you get hit by ice daggers, you get frozen. I guess it lasts like maybe a second less. Ooh. You know, or if your teammate uses reinforce on you, it lasts less. So I mean, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. If it only, you know, worked on the bad passes, I mean, okay, maybe it might be a little better than Celtor, but other than that, I mean, it's just bad. It's just bad. Provides nothing except acid rain immunity and or resistance. I don't even know if it's immunity. Moving on. Okay, I think our first good race, Felinor. Okay, so Felinor, it actually gets a good buff. Okay, so you know, you might be looking at the Felinor page. Oh, you're a cat girl. You're weird. Okay, I understand. I mean, you know, Felinors do get kind of discriminated against, and you know, for good reason. You know, I don't think anybody really appreciates. You know, this isn't. Well, I'm not trying to get political here, but so Felinor, you know, its race is inherently good because what it gets is it gets 1.25 climbing and 1.5 on wooden surfaces, right? So you're like, hey, wooden surfaces, like, when am I going to be climbing wood? Okay, you got me there. But 1.25 just base climbing is pretty nice. It's rumored to have feather falling. I don't think it is, but I mean, you know, cat race always lands, you know, on his legs, whatever. So it might have some feather falling, but I don't think it does. But the extra climbing is just good in general. I mean, pair that with Jet Striker, you'll definitely be climbing a lot farther. I mean, think about it, 1.25 on each climb, and Jet Striker gets like 4. That's pretty good with kickoff. Pair all that. I mean, you're gonna be climbing really high because there's, you know, there's some situations where you need just a little more climbing, like if you go deep bound, that little cave out there, if you have Jet Striker, which I had this bell, teleportation bell. I put a teleportation down there, and every time I did gank, teleport down there in that little void area, catch myself in that ledge. And if I had a Felinor, just because I needed just like a little more climb, if I had a Felinor, I could literally with Jet Striker just jump out of that whole entire ravine, and then just leave my gankers like suck. They couldn't do anything. So okay, my point is the climbing speed is, you know, very, very good. I mean, it's, you know, it has its uses. So I'll put it in good. It's actually useful on, like, you know, most of the other races below it. Ganemede, I'll put above Felinor. Now, okay, Felinor has more practical use, like late game, I guess, but Ganemede, so what it does is you get less insanity, which is kind of pointless if you're not death bound. And you get better deals with shrines. I think it's like an echo cheaper. So normally, you know, those deep shrines, they cost 5 echoes to use. With Ganemede, you know, it costs 4. I mean, it's nice. You know, you don't have to spend as much knowledge, even though you can get as much knowledge as you want in floor 2. But you know, it's just nice. It's nice to have, and the insanity is good, and the hat looks cool. So I'll put it a good. Just, I mean, because I'll get into that later about why the insanity is good. But you know, because you can go Deathbound and just never get insanity in the depths, or you can go Ganemede, or you can go Blind Seer, just something like that. But yeah, Ganemede is definitely good if you don't want to go Deathbound. So yeah, Gremor, I'll put it below Crysid, above Celtor. Ganemede is, I mean, not Ganemede. Gremor is garbage too. I mean, you get a compass at the top of your screen, which, like, let's be honest, when are you ever looking at the compass, like you know, no map on the Deepwoken wiki says, oh, sail east from the Etrean Isle of Vigils or whatever, you know, like, the compass is completely useless, and you get, like, less hunger bar going down, like, drainage, something like that, something stupid, and, like, sure, that's good, but it's, like, it's not noticeable, like, at all. Like, I played it, I mean, I guess it's nice, maybe it's, like, a 10% if I had to guess, 20%, 25%, it's not really that good, so that's why it's pretty garbage. I mean, you know, it gets strength and fortitude, so those are usually pretty useful stats to have. It's not really, you know, niche, but it's still not that good. So our first goated race, Tyran. Alright, Tyran is goated. So you get 10% fall damage resistance, which is nice, you know. You don't take as much from fall damage, you know, because, you know, even when you're ganking, doing whatever, you take fall damage, so 10% less is nice. And you get a glider, okay? So you're probably like, oh, well, I can just craft a shark scale glider, right? Well, thing is, with this glider, it goes farther, like, it has less drift down, because I have the race, so you can't tell, there's a difference, very slight, but there's a difference, I've tested it. And B, it's infinite uses, so if you have a glider, right, you're pretty reluctant to use it to save the uses, right, and you're like, I don't want to use it here. But I mean, if you have Tyran, it's like free glider, use it anytime. And you know, you used to using glider, and it's just so convenient. Over the long run, it probably saves you like a lot of time. So anything that saves time is good. And you're not always gonna have a glider available to your early game, so that's why it's pretty good. And that's all I really need to say about it. It's goated, you know, because if you're a normal brokey and you don't want to craft a regular glider, I mean, you have to go to a crafting table, which is like, you know, not always a crafting table available. So Tyran, goated, first goated race. Pair this with the Gale skill, that drifting winds. I don't remember what it's called, but it basically makes your glider go down slower. You can pretty much glide infinitely with this glider just because it's so much better than the other one. And yeah, so con, race, garbage. I would put it below Gremor. Just so con, basically what it does is you can equip your weapon shield whatever 3 skill points earlier. Now this is pretty much useless, as I mean, think about it, like if you're going medium or you're going fortitude, you know, use a shield, use a sword, well, you know, you might as well just put the other 3 points in for scaling, right? I mean, because that's kind of like, you know, yeah, getting the weapon is nice, but you know, you also want your scaling, so you pretty much always go 100 medium, whatever, 100 fortitude. Well, I mean, I guess it could be useful for shields, so you could just get 97, but if you're getting 100 fortitude, you probably want the talent brick wall, so you're gonna get 100 fortitude anyway. It makes making this race pretty much useless. I mean, it's a monkey and it is kind of drippy, and it has strength and agility starting stats. That's what I like about it. So yeah, it's still garbage, but you know, I guess it looks cool and has good starting stats. You'll never use this passive. I mean, it sounds good on paper, but it's just really not good. Like, you know, use the katana at 25 medium. No, use it at 22, and then like 1 auto didactic boon later, plus 3 points. It's useless. So Vesparian, more goated than Tyran. It's goated, S tier. So Vesparian. Okay, first of all, not to mention its, you know, superior combat abilities. You can be like Dream, okay? You can be like Dream. I mean, you know, the famous YouTuber Dream. You can be like the Minecrafter. You have a mask, alright? You can be like, but the fact is, I can never get off of my mattress. I mean, look, I'm just saying. And it looks drippy. I mean, look, if you're an edgy anime kid that has a black Naruto PFP, this race is also probably for you. And I agree with you. I mean, it does look pretty nice, you know. You want to be edgy, get this race. And it gets a 5% damage reduction buff, which is huge in the long-term late game, right? So late game, this is probably the best race. I'm just gonna be honest, because you know, even if you do have Exo, which Exo makes it so you take I believe 10% less damage, there's a slight nerf, you know, because you don't, it'd be OP if you got 15%, so I guess the devs just made it 13% damage resistance if you have Exo. So because you know, the mask gives you 5, Exo gives you 10, so you know, it makes sense to give you 15, but that's too OP, so the devs make it 13. But other than that, I mean, you know, even if it's a 3% damage resistance, I mean, stacked up with all your other armor or whatever, 3% damage resistance on 500 health is like pretty big. And you know, that one like hit can save you, you know, so it's useful. It's useful. I would say it's useful. It can break, but it's not really that, it doesn't break that often. I mean, especially saying like you can make a fire anytime you want to, unless you're in the depths, I guess. But even in layer 2, I don't even know how it refills, but it just does. Like, I think it's when you touch a lantern it refills. I don't really know how it works, but it always just seems to randomly refill for me in the depths and in layer 2, so the mass breaking isn't really an issue. And the 5% damage resistance is nice. So, on to the best race in the game, Adret. If I can drag it up there. So you might be thinking, like, why is Adret the best race in the game? I mean, you know, I guess no combat benefits like Vesparian. It's starting sets from mid, it gets charisma and whatever. And it's ugly, and it's the most common race. Well, that's kind of like, that's not why it's OP. That's its 4 flaws, okay? So Adret should be the rarest race in the game because its progression scaling is so much faster than all the other races. I mean, sure, you can be Vesparian, go to trial 1, get up power 6, you know, spend like 10 hours making your build, or, you know, go in to trial 1 with Adret, come out power 10, be halfway done with your build. You know, if you're going Shrine of Order, you're only 2 powers away. So, like, you know, going from, let's just say, power 6 to power 12 and the Shrine of Order build, you're only leveling up 1 stat or 2 stats. can be pretty painful, but you know, trial of 1 pretty much negates that. You can just put in whatever you want, and Adret works really well with it. For example, you can max out so you know, because sure, you might get stuck in trial 1 and you can't like uncap your stats. I understand that, but at the same time, for example, I was trying to get brick wall or perseverance, or I was trying to get like talent, I don't remember what it was, and I was going fortitude and willpower, and I got out of trial of 1 at 75 willpower, 75 fortitude, and it just like sprinkling some points and some stats. So if you're going to max out 2 stats, I think it's like 150 skill points, because you get out power 10, you get 15 yes. So Adret in trial 1, best thing you can do, and you know, you're not gonna get soft locked. Just make sure you have like at least 150 skill points you can invest before uncapping your stats, but unless you're just min-maxing 1 stat, it's not gonna be, it's gonna be fun. So yeah, Adret is the best race in the game. You get autodidact. I should have said this. You get autodidact, and then if you pair it with a boon, it's pretty much just boasted. I mean, that's because if you're not using autodidact, you know, you're waste, to be honest. It saves so much time, and you know, like the devs literally like buffed it. It used to not really save any time. It used to just, you know, make it so you didn't have to train that 1 stat, but you still had to get the XP for it. But now you literally don't even need the XP for it for the most part, unless you just put in like 15 stats at one time. But you know, if you're like power 19 and you need like 7 points left, just put those 7 points in that you stockpiled up and power 20. It saves so much time, and it is the best race in the game. So yeah, thanks for watching and listening to my ramble. I'm gonna be making some more Deepwoken content, so if you wanna support me, I'll appreciate a subscription. Also, comment on what Deepwoken videos I should do. I'm thinking more tier lists, just because they're easier to make and doesn't take a toll on my PC that much. Or I could continue making my Roblox limited videos. You know, Roblox Hustlers University, link in description if you want to join the Discord server. And yeah, I'll see you next one. Peace.